Yeah, she'll make it. I
I
just knew she
just
had that
knew.
talent. She was different.
Yeah. And the same people when you're starting will be like, are you sure you want to do this? The great are not great because they are the most talented or the most lucky or the most hardworking. No, the great are great because they just stay hungry.
How do you keep telling yourself, okay, not this year, next year might be my year. Not this year, next year, and again, and again, and again. Hi everyone, welcome back to Listen Up with Simran and Isha, where we dive into real conversations about life, personal growth, and everything in between. Today, we have an exciting episode lined up for you, so turn up the volume and listen up.
Welcome back to today's episode of Listen Up with Sim and Isha. Today is a special one because, as you can clearly see, I'm not in my natural habitat, but we make things work and we're in a new setup. I'm in a new setup today. And just before we got on this call and recorded this podcast, Isha and I were talking about top 1% mentality and how right now, like, I don't know, Isha, are you feeling it? I'm feeling it. It's the middle of the year. There is a little bit of a slump around it because, 6 months into the year, you've put things on your vision board in January. Now you're looking back and being like, hey, how close am I? And then it seems like you're not very close.
What is happening? What is working? Yeah, I know. I feel that. There's a little bit of a lack of, motivation right now. Ki yaar, ho nahi raha. Like, I don't see it happening. Maybe not in the near future. So that's happening. A little bit of that. But again, I think this is also the testing time. I believe in
Yes.
This time, pay the person who sticks it out, who is patient enough and just keeps doing what they need to do, I think they eventually get it right.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about, right? The 1% mentality that you just mentioned.
Exactly. And I think, I genuinely believe our results take time to catch up to us, And our entire life is made of up moments and down moments. The problem is that none of them last and don't last very long. That means even if you hit a peak, that peak will only stay for a while. After a point, it will go, right? Like a low point. A low point will also stay for a while and then it will move because you will move as a person,
Yes.
But problem with us is we remember more of our downs than we remember our ups, and our successes. So I feel like it's also important to remember that life is going to be up and down. And that is life. If it is stable and just like this, then you're doing something wrong because that means your life is not really changing, not really becoming anything, and you are not really trying to your maximum potential.
No, I get that. We oftentimes forget, Simran, that there was a previous version of us or a previous part of our lives जब हम सक्सेसफुल भी हुए हैं because when we are going through this अब हमारे दिमाग में कोई नया ड्रीम होगा कोई नया गोल होगा और हम उस जोन ऑफ लाइफ में होंगे कि it's not happening for us. But how often in life, from the age of you remember your life from, कितनी बार ऐसा हुआ है कि you've had a goal and you've just achieved it without even realizing how you did it.
Yeah.
That was also you, na. Some part of you is still that person who has been able to be so smart at certain points. So, I don't know how to put this in words, but it's a feeling. यार मैंने ही किया था वो. बहुत छोटी सी example है. Class 10th now was like a very, very tough year, very hard, obviously boards and everything. I remember coming back from school, I used to have wake up, go to school, come back, have 4 hours of tuition, 3 hours of tuition, come back, do all my work that's supposed to be done, and then go to bed at 1:30 at night and again start doing it the next day. Now, when I look back to the time and I realize, how did I even do it? How did I even manage that kind of stress?
Yeah.
And I was doing it so effortlessly at that point in time. I remember myself, I was enjoying myself in that struggle, in that hardship, because it was a big year for me. In my head, everybody's told me boards are a big year. So, but that was me. That was a version of me that I really like going back and thinking about, if she can do this, then why not today? Whatever the struggle may be, it's changed. The struggle has changed. Goals have changed, but I'm still the same person who is that hard, who works very hard, who likes working hard, who has that grit, that resilience to, push through. So yeah, I think I like.
And we forget that person lives inside us, that top percent, top 1% mentality is also starting from scratch every time, because I feel like we go through life, we achieve things. When we're nobody, we have to become somebody, or we at least want to become somebody. So we try hard and we pick up one achievement on the way. Hey, she got 90% in her boards. Hey, she got a really nice job at JP Morgan. Hey, she's got getting married next year. So you pick up one achievement and you start wearing it like a necklace. And then when you have to start over again, you're scared because now you have this diamond necklace and you're like, okay, I have to do that again. I have to slog again. I have to become that version of myself again. And it's hard every time you do it, but that is the key to life. We were talking about Priyanka Chopra, we're talking about the Met because the Met Gala is happening right now, today, as we shoot. Of course, this episode is, coming out later, but
Coming a little late, yeah.
for me, she is such an inspiration because she was already an established actress in the industry in Bollywood when she started her luck again in Hollywood. And we know how difficult it is to not know anybody, have no godfather looking over you, and going through a lot in her personal life and trying to start again from scratch in a completely different place when nobody knows you.
Yeah.
And then making it. How did she do it?
Then making it, yeah. I think, she loves talking about this. I think nobody, actually, when you're talking about Priyanka Chopra, we all look at her high moments. She loves talking about the fact that when she had to enter Hollywood, she had to start auditioning again. She had to prove to people again that she deserved to be there. Imagine that, being at the success of your life and then doing that. And if she could, at that point in time, not think कि यार मैं तो बहुत established हूँ मुंबई में, I'm like big Bollywood star, why do I need to go and tell people that I'm this person, I can do this. अगर उसने ऐसा सोचा होता तो I don't think she would have been where she is now, like that global icon that she is.
Exactly.
She decided to unlearn whatever she'd learned and learn new things at her peak. I think that's the mentality that we're talking about.
Yes.
And again, when you're talking about like GOAT mentality, the biggest name that comes to my mind is like Virat Kohli. I mean, we were talking about him as well.
I love it.
18 years that guy has been like slogging. I would use the word slogging because 18 years is a long time to be with one team and still going at it with that gusto. Right now, IPL season is on, and like RCB is such a big sensation this season.
Absolutely.
And he's been going at it again and again despite so many losses. How do you manage that kind of mindset? Like, how do you keep telling yourself, okay, not this year, next year might be my year. Not this year, next year, and again, and again, and again. How do you keep learning from your mistakes even when it's been so long? 22-23-year-old से ज़्यादा एनर्जी दिखती है मुझे उसमें किसी टाइम पे, and I feel that we need, at least we as people who are genuinely his fans can learn this from him कि हम जो भी कर रहे हैं लाइफ में हम अपना उसके लिए enthusiasm ना छोड़ें, whatever might be happening. If it's taking you a little longer than you anticipated in getting some success, it doesn't mean you lose the hope completely. It means you double down on it. It means you go harder again. It means, I think I love talking about this because I resonate with this idea too much. I'm not saying I'm completely like, oh, who can follow through with this idea also, because कई बार I have those low days. I'm not able to, push myself. But again, having these inspirations ऐसे लोगों को देखकर, I think you keep going. They give you that reminder. उनकी photo देखकर, उनकी video देखकर, Instagram पे एक reel देखकर, you just get that reminder again कि नहीं, you can still go ahead.
Exactly. One of my favorite things to do actually is when I'm feeling low or I'm not feeling motivated is actually read about other people that inspire me, And 9 out of 10 times there has not been a single time that I have not found a struggle in their lives, All of those people have struggled. All of those people. The great are not great because they are the most talented or the most lucky or the most hardworking. No, the great are great because they just stay hungry. They know that if not today, tomorrow will be another day. And tomorrow. And tomorrow. Virat knows that even if today the team failed, it's okay. There's going to be another day. There's going to be another match. There's going to be another time to make it happen, And that is what makes him great. And that's what makes any of these people the top 1%. That they know it's not about the destination, it's about the journey and the progress that you make through it.
Yes. And I think you just keep working at it day in, day out. You keep reminding yourself. I think they would also, give themselves pep talk. You have to keep going at it. I love these people. I love this idea of these people. ये लोग ना एक point के बाद सीखने के बाद ये नहीं कभी भी सोचते life में कि हमने सीख लिया है, we've arrived. There's always something new to learn. There's always something new that they can explore. We're talking about Virat Kohli, and there's one side of it. Initially, when he was starting his career, he used to talk about this. I'm not the puja part types. And eventually, he's found his way into the spiritual journey with his partner. And how that has unfolded along with his journey, that's also beautiful to see and commendable to see कि there's always scope for an individual to learn even after they've reached everything. एक तरह से देखा जाए तो they are at the top 1%, like the top 200 people of the world that we're talking about today. 200 300 like you can count these people on your fingers. So these people, if they also have this idea ki I can still learn something new, or I love Priyanka Chopra also. She's always say I love when I get a new challenge in a movie. Like there's something I need to learn for a movie. Maybe it's a dialect, maybe it's some coaching I have to take, or maybe some action that I have to learn. I love that when a movie comes with an opportunity of learning for me and not just acting. So I think that stay hungry thing that you just mentioned, I think that's the idea. That's the key that make these people very different from all of us. And maybe that's what we are trying to somewhat replicate and make our own, find our own version also in it. Because Priyanka Chopra also says this, that why do you want to be me? Why you are the first Isha, you are the first Simran. You have to be that person. So maybe find your own path, but yeah, you can always find inspiration.
Absolutely. And I feel like top 1% is not a person. I think it's an attitude, and any and every one of us can have that attitude. You're at the 6-month mark right now where the year is halfway done, but it's also halfway left, and it's that perspective shift that you need to make, that hey, I still got 6 months, and even if not 6 months, I have still another 1 whole year, 2-year whole, 10 years more, to make life happen. My grandmother turned 86 last weekend, and I am turning 30 this year, and I just looked at her and I realized that, oh my god, that means I have at least 50 more years to live. That's a long time. Wow. Even though I'm turning 30 this year. Time. So why am I in such a hurry to achieve everything overnight and fast? I want fast success. I want everyone to know I'm successful. I want 1 million followers. I want that YouTube channel which is popping all the time. I want a big podcast. But I have my lifetime to achieve it. Why am I not valuing that? I think top 1% are not there for that. Like they don't look at just one thing. They're always looking at, it's a journey of collection of things that you need to do in your life.
Yeah, I think I like that, because when we're talking about the top 1% people, we're also talking about the last 20 years of their life. We're not saying that one moment Priyanka Chopra had or one game Virat Kohli.
Exactly. And so many times people
it's the whole legacy.
Right? People overlook this all the time, that they see, this is an overnight success, but they don't see all those years they went to bed crying themselves to sleep and doubting themselves, questioning themselves, not knowing where they stand. How insecure also this world of fame or success, even if you're not in the Bollywood or Hollywood industry, even if you talk about any other field, whether it's a corporate job, whether it is engineering, whether it's being a doctor, there's always so much insecurity which comes in also, to deal with that, it's not that they don't have self-doubts, they don't question themselves, they 100% do, they just don't listen to it.
Yeah, they don't listen to it. I think they've understood they have the talent to mute it out. कि ठीक है, बहुत सारी चीजें दिमाग में चल रही हैं, because everybody deals with the negative emotions, because these are the demons that we all have. But they've learned to fight it well, or just work besides them. क्योंकि वो होते तो हैं. I also have those days where I will tell myself I'm not, I'm not meant to do this. Maybe I'm meant to do something different, or maybe I'm not doing it right, because I feel social media has trained our brain like this. Ki overnight success is possible, but it's not. I think I personally am trying to rewire myself to believing ki even though I'm working in content now, I'm working on this podcast, social media has become a big part of my life now. I was never that person before, but still I've started to understand ki the work that goes behind it is still work, and it's still going to take its own time. So you have to let it be, let it breathe, let it be, because things overnight success नहीं होता है. Lot of hard work over the time turns into success, और वो overnight दिखने लग पड़ता है. Overnight a lot of people start noticing you. Everybody, मेरे friends मुझे बताते होते हैं कि ईशा, okay, so on your Instagram or whatever you post about your podcast, very small example, everybody is watching. Okay, if they're not even engaging it with it right now, but everybody around you now knows in your vicinity that you have a podcast. So the day you become like somebody relevant or somebody they really like starts talking about your podcast is the day they will also start engaging with it. But it's not like people are not watching. So I've learned it that way. It's all around you. It just takes time to come up. Clouds ko hatne mein time lagta hai. It takes time for the clouds to clear. I think it's that.
That's why for me, one of my main things in my life, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I believe 1% attitude is also that's why listening very hard to yourself before you start listening to others around you. Because others around you, I only take advice from people who are people I want to be like. Otherwise, I will not take your advice. And not
who've been in the same situation,
who have overcome it, who are living the life that I want to live. If you are somebody who's giving me advice, even if you are my close friend or my mother or father, anybody, but if you've not lived the life I've lived or the life I want to live, then I don't always take that advice. Because not because I am being stubborn about it or I don't care about their opinion. I will, of course, listen to it and I will still absorb whatever I can. But the advice that will be true to me is the person whose life I want to live because they're living the life that I want to live. So I know for a fact that my father will never be able to advise me on social media because he doesn't have a social media account. He has a well set up established business which he runs and makes a lot of money. So yes, he can advise me on business, but he can never advise me on social media. And even if he does, I will think 2 times before I understand which advice to take and which advice to leave, Because when you're starting something, a lot of this is spitball effect, And a friend of mine mentioned this podcast called Daddy's Girl, or Daddy's Calling, something like that. It's a very famous American.
Call Her Daddy?
Call Her Daddy, yeah. It's a very famous American podcast, I know for a fact, because I've seen the snippets. But I don't follow that podcast because it doesn't connect with me, but that's my personal choice. But she's fabulous, the podcast is fabulous. And the friend told me, oh yeah, I love listening to her episodes, I love listening to her. And I'm like, oh really, when did you start? And she's like, oh yeah, because I saw that, they had Kim Kardashian and she had Megan Fox and she had.
Exactly.
So I was just like, okay, so do you actually like the podcast or you just like the people on the podcast or like you are following the bandwagon because everybody, but I will never ever say that to anyone. But the truth is that that's why when you're starting something new, you have to find your people. Rest will be spitball effect. And they will always come and join the crowd and be like, yeah, I always knew that she's a smart kid. I always knew she'd do something amazing with her life.
Yeah, she'll make it. I just knew she had that talent. She was different,
And the same people when you're starting will be like, are you sure you want to do this? Ye chalta hai?
Like they might not say it to your face, but they'll have their doubts in their head. Is this gonna work?
Yes.
How does this work? Like, what is this industry like? I know, I feel that, but again, we've taken this out of the context. I think we're talking about the 1% mentality and how we are trying to be that 1% people and trying to replicate whatever they've done in their lives, and
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop you right there, and I'm sorry I'm cutting you off. But the truth is, Isha, no, we are not trying to be 1%. We are 1%.
Oh, wow.
The reason we're having this conversation is because we're 1%. Anybody listening to this podcast is already 1% because you're already doing things which normal people don't. So the key to becoming that is stop believing that you're trying and that you are it. That's it. You are it.
More than anything, I needed that reminder.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
I think you can wake up and choose that you are it. That's it.
Yes.
Who gets to decide you're not? Who said you're not 1%?
Yes. Yeah? I think we are. So yes, today we are saying that we are the 1%. And the people who are listening to us are also the 1% because they have clicked on this conversation today.
Absolutely, yeah. So I hope all this inspired you all to think as well. Anyone who's listening, it definitely inspired us to think about where we want to go and what we want to do, and why it's important to remind yourself of your journey.
Yes.
So, yeah. I actually have a really nice meditation. If you don't mind, Isha, I would love to share it with everyone.
Yes,
You can drop it in the description. It's one of my favorite manifestation meditations. And through that, it's a very long one. It's like probably 40 minutes. But she guides you to, build your own life and really feel that you're living that life that you
Wow.
And I think this is my favorite things to do because we don't live in our futures, we live a lot in our present or our past, so I feel like that really helps you also change this thing that I'm trying. You're not trying, you're there. That's it.
Great. I think I love that. Wow. I think I'll definitely share it. We'll definitely share it in the description below the meditation you just mentioned. And I think everybody listening can also get, and I'm also going to use that meditation for myself. And definitely, I think we all need to start forming small habits that help us reach that goal a little bit faster, a little bit better.
Yep, absolutely. So anyone who's listening, keep listening. We have more episodes for you coming up in the next month. And thank you for joining in and have a nice weekend.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Listen Up with Simran and Isha. Hope you enjoyed the conversation and make sure to like and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay tuned and listen up.